Namaste, Jai Bharat. That thing has happened. Iran attacked US air bases in Iraq. This, of course, Iran was saying that we'll attack US. Of course, they can't go and attack the US per se, America, but they can attack the US bases present in Middle East, and that's precisely what they have done. Now, what can happen? US won't keep quiet, rather can't keep quiet. And US already had made a formidable military presence in that area. They have the air bases surrounding different places. They have their fleets ready. Aircraft carrier also must be there. Submarines, when an aircraft carrier comes, all these people will be natural company to them. Frigates and submarines, other things will be there, normally. This can create a lot of impact if US retaliates. Iran already is taken hit from Israel, and things are not in good shape there. Israel has already attacked Iran's nuclear bases, that is nuclear facilities. They have this. The problem is that why suddenly Israel took to attacking Iran is that they were trying to make uranium more enriched. They have uranium, and they say that this uranium is used for their other purposes. Whereas enrichment of uranium need not to go beyond a point. But they, right now, as a report comes, these are all reports, these are all stories, no one has seen. They see Iran has already crossed 60% of uranium enrichment, and when they reach 90% plus, they can make nuclear bomb. Oh. Now 60% of enriched uranium is not used for any civil purposes, for any peaceful purposes. They don't need uranium enriched beyond 35 to 40% to make it either for power projects or whatever. So going up to it takes time. Their target is 90 plus, and the point that they have reached up to 60% suggests very clearly, and it's obviously, and also logically, and as we understand Iran, they are going to make nuclear bomb by crossing 90% of enrichment of uranium. That's the problem, and that's why Israel has attacked them now, because they have got information that they're crossing 60. That would not take much time, 6 months or 1 year, to make it to 90 plus. And then they make bomb. And once they make bomb, you do not know where they're going to put it. That's true, because it's such an irresponsible nation. Iran was a normal kind of nation, very liberal people, till 1971. And unfortunately, most people in Iran must have been born after 1971 or at the brink of 1971. The Shah regime gives way to the Khomeini Ayatollah regime, and this Iran, which was a liberal state, had gone into a religious kind of state. It must have been very hard on the people of Iran. Most people, vast majority people, it must have been very hard on them to take such a rigid laws strictly coming up to the nose. But then, under compulsion, they had to endure, and they are still enduring. The whole thing, as I understand, is just because of this kind of law, this kind of rule. Iran was once upon a time the best friend of Israel. They call themselves Aryans. And Aryan, of course, as I've told you some back, is not a denotative or a racial concept, it's a quality concept. Because the concept of Aryan originates from Bharat, which precisely from the Rig Veda. We call someone with given stipulated qualities as Aryan, and those who don't have that qualities could be Anaryans, non-Aryans. And then, of course, it's all kind. The stories are there that someone has deliberately mistaken it as a race for the different purpose. All the stories got cooked up, and that still precipitates in the world, in spite of the fact that the story has been disputed, refuted rather, not disputed, that there's nothing like Aryan race. That's an absolute myth, but that it was smooth on imagination for many people, and they continue to think so. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's why Israel attacked, and Israel had to do it. That's obviously true. Israel had to do it. It was a question of their existence. And people have hatred towards Israel. Some section of the people have hatred towards Israel. Some section of people have got hatred towards all others, everyone else. And the steps taken forward are motivated by hatred, dislike to others. That's a very unfortunately appalling situation with mankind. I wouldn't say that man should coexist in a complete transparency, which is a logical impossibility. I would not say empirical impossibility alone, even logical impossibility. Given the logical characters of human being, they don't normally exist with complete transparency because it's not possible. When one is trying to be transparent, possible, then unexpected quarters will start behaving in an unanticipated manner, in a way that your entire transparency gets distorted and then finally destroyed. Then one becomes helpless. Your transparency is not counted, your might is counted, your money is counted, your authority is counted. So naturally, this thing becomes an impossibility. So, US might retaliate, and then there shall be problems further, and this would change world order, can change. The only solution which ought to be, as what I aspire, is that there should be a regime change in Iran. I don't know if people will work towards that. These things are not in our hands. These things are not in our hands who try to understand and analyze and evaluate things. These things are in the hands of some unknown people who control things. Temporary maybe, but then they do control things. If Iran makes a regime change, if there's a possibility of regime change, the whole area can be peaceful. The whole area becomes a much better place for man to live. No one is going to live forever in this world. No one. And most people who are at the realm of things are very old. Many of them don't last more than 10 years or 15 years, or at the most 20 years. Not more than that. And if the regime change is possible, if Iran can go for democracy, then this kind of coercive rules in the name of religion, the people in the world, throughout the world, they had been using religion for despotic rule, and they still do use religion for authoritarianism, for dictatorship, and such things. They want authority from religion. So people use religion for authoritarian rule. The ultimate question is that of rule, power, authority, and of course whatever things associated with that. So if there's a regime change in Iran, things would be better. At least the Persians can breathe free air, and then there shall be peace. Otherwise, Iran was actually a nuisance, as I see. They had been supporting many proxy groups to operate on their behalf. Many proxy groups. And these proxy groups are by and large brought to heel by Israel-like agencies. And Israel can't help it, that's obvious. They have to exist, and therefore they have to exist, they have to resist these things. If Israel they have to exist peacefully, of course, there's no kind of peace in the history of the Jews. They were continuously oppressed, continuously tortured, and continuously troubled by the entire world. If you go to the history of the Jews, one may see that there are only 2 points of time in history of Jews where they lived comfortably. One is King David establishing his authority, and then Solomon. That's all. Apart from these 2 incidents, the Davidic dynasty getting established and Solomon The Jews were continuously and completely troubled and tortured by everyone in the world. Everyone in the world except these unfortunate Hindus. Because we have got the disease of accepting everyone, liking people, and trusting people. So, except the Hindus, the Jews were tortured by all kinds of people throughout history. So, for Israel to exist in peace, when I say, it's a kind of it's a kind of anachronism. Nobody had allowed them to live peacefully, though they don't attack anyone of their own. They don't want anything from anyone. They are autonomous, like what we say in Bharat. They are Atmanirbhar people. They are capable of looking after their own business and living, and they are doing that. It's unfortunate that I would really like to call them noble race, the Jews. These noble people were insulted, humiliated, and tortured and damned by the entire world throughout the history. And now, to what extent things are different, I do not know. It's difficult to make an evaluation because it's not possible to trust people face value. Anyway, this if US is good reaction naturally. US is a big ego kind of state. If they are touched, they will react. They won't give up. The forgiving kind of things don't exist in the dictionary, as I understand. Now, when Iran is attacked by US also, they are already ready in the regime with all their military might. Then, if it leads to any regime change, good. If it leads to a regime change, good. At least the people of Iran can breathe. I would not advocate for any kind of battle. I would not advocate for any kind of quarrel with anyone. But these kind of things happens out of helplessness. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Sri Ram.